How many people don't know anything about private and public addresses? Come on, Ken, raise your hand.
Excuse me?
Okay.
I'm not here.
Good. Most so we'll blow through this. I have lots of classes where I have phone punchdown guys that don't understand what an IP address is. So we cruise through this pretty fast. So the things you got to know about, of course, are the IP address that you're going to want to switch at. You need one for your PBX. You always want a static IP for your PBX. You don't want it floating around or anything. In a twin star system, you have three IP addresses. You have one for server 1, you have one for server 2, and you have one for a cluster address. Unless you have dual LAN interfaces in your twin star, then of course you have 6 addresses you have to deal with. Okay? In any of our PBXs, you can have, except for the one, any 2000 or any 3000 PBX, you can have dual network cards in them. Now, the reason you would do that is in a telephony layout where you have lots of remote users. And I do it because I get so tired of the routers stomping on my NAT. And so all of a sudden I get these intermittent one-way audio, and everybody yells at the PBX, we all know it's the router. We actually, at Zorcom, use a Draytech router. And for people that buy systems from us that want us to support and program the public side of the phone system, we sell the Draytech router with services, and we manage that router because we know it won't get crazy on NAT. I have Cisco, up-to-date Cisco routers that get crazy with NAT routing. And everybody throws up their hand and says, this is phone system. But gee, you go power cycle the router, all of a sudden things get wonderful again. And say, well, gee, how can this be the phone system? Dual interfaces, the reason I go that route is what I like to do in a lot of configurations is put the second NIC program to a public address outside of the router, so I don't have to deal with NATing. That way, all your phones that have public IP addresses will go through the network interface in the phone system that's from the public side. Now you say, well, gee, that's very risky. But the Linux firewall is actually very good. That coupled with fail-to-ban, and you're actually very secure, and you probably won't get hacked. There's no guarantee you never get hacked. Hackers are really, really smart. But people that have done a reasonable amount of good firewall work, be it on their router or be it on their firewall in the PBX, plus put fail-to-ban on the system, I've never heard anybody getting hacked, at least any of our customers yet. So, and fail-to-ban's been around for a long time. It's poor man checking to see if you're getting hacked. And the fact is that they're not going to catch you in the first 4 or 5 times, and if you know by the 5th time that someone doesn't know the number and you block them automatically, that's pretty good. So, and it's not very expensive to implement. In fact, in our new release, it's loaded on the system. All you have to do is run a script to implement it, and it'll send you emails automatically if someone's pinging on your front door, not knowing your address, and then who they put in jail, as they call it, in the fail-to-ban world. So, next thing you need to know is how big your submask. What your gateway is. This is where you talk when you can't resolve an address inside of. You can't resolve the address inside your own subnet. It throws out the gateway, and then you need to know your network address and your broadcast address. You only need these because Linux likes to know about them when you're configuring. The fact is that everybody knows what they are, and so but you have to program it when you go into the Linux computer and fill it out. So there are 3 private network ranges. The first one is a 10.0.0. It's a Class A network. Has a bazillion addresses. It's a big number, like 2 billion or something. The 172.16 network, which is a much smaller range. It's only got 16 million. I'm sorry, 16 million. It's got 1 million addresses. You don't see that quite as much, so I like to always throw the phone. If I'm going in and I'm going to end up having to route it, I always throw my PBX at 172 because no one ever uses it. So, and then there's the traditional, everybody uses it as a nice small range, but it seems like every place you walk into it, every device you buy off the market is programmed for the 192. These are your private address ranges. Anything other than these are public addresses. So what happens here is on these private ranges, if the address inside your building is one of these, there's no way to talk to it from the outside world. So you have to route, if you want to be able to get to your PBX when it has a private address, you need to route a public address through the router doing one-to-one NATing to your PBX, or have dual NICs where one of it is a public IP.